A tough-looking man, resembling an Italian mafioso, goes up in the elevator of a business center in Chicago. He enters an office, and the woman sitting there is terrified to see him. A man tells her to lighten up, because if he meant to harm her, she'd be dead by now. He hands her a bullet and asks her to analyze it to identify the manufacturer, saying this is the bullet that killed his colleague. The woman says she can't learn anything from the bullet. Then, a dot from a laser sight appears on her forehead, near the bindi, and in a second, the woman is shot in the head from the building across the street. The man spots 4 shooters on the roof and quickly dashes out of the office. In the hallway, he calls an elevator to give himself more room for a running start. His heart races, making his reactions much faster than usual. He pushes off the elevator wall and speeds down the corridor, moving incredibly fast, almost like a flash. He breaks through a window with his head, shattering the glass that had somehow remained intact despite the gunfire. As he leaps through the air toward the building, he manages to kill 3 of the shooters. Impressively, he takes down the 3rd one by shooting a curved bullet around a corner. After landing on the second-to-last floor, it takes him only 5 seconds to eliminate the last shooter. He answers the phone ringing in the shooter's pocket, telling the caller that there's no way to leave the fraternity and that sending sheep to kill a wolf is pointless. The response is that they were just bait. Looking down, he sees the X-Men logo beneath his feet. Immediately afterward, a vintage bullet pierces his skull. A reverse shot shows the bullet's complexity. It has a multi-stage design, like a rocket. The shot was fired from miles away by a man named Cross. 2 weeks later, Wesley is woken up by his girlfriend who yells at him, demanding he find a new home because she can't sleep near the subway. Wesley, an ordinary office worker, suffers from panic attacks, which he tries to control with medication. However, the meds cause him to become apathetic. He doesn't care about anything, not even his girlfriend's regular infidelity with his friend Barry. Wesley can't bring himself to confront them. His boss constantly berates him for being slow at work. Wesley faces an existential crisis, always wondering why his father abandoned their family right after he was born. When his boss starts yelling at him about a report, Wesley experiences a panic attack so severe that his heart beats wildly and everything around him seems to slow down. After she leaves, Wesley immediately takes a handful of sedatives. That evening, when he tries to withdraw cash, he finds his account nearly empty. He goes to a store to buy more sedatives and notices a strange man watching him, Cross, the man who did the shooting on the roof. Turning around, Wesley sees Angelina Jolie watching him. Wesley feels uneasy with her pushy behavior, but suddenly she says she knew his father. Wesley is skeptical at first, but she continues, saying his father was killed a few days ago, and his killer is right behind him. Then she pulls out a Colt and starts shooting at Cross. A gunfight breaks out in the store. Overwhelmed by a panic attack, Wesley tries to run, but the woman stops him. She takes out a corner shot device and uses it to shoot off mirrors, limiting Cross's field of vision. Seizing the opportunity, Wesley runs outside. Cross tries to chase him in a van, but the woman carefully gets Wesley into her red Ferrari. The chase continues, with the woman hanging out of the windshield, firing at the van. Wesley, mesmerized by the view, watches as she drives with her right foot. A police squad blocks their path. Thinking quickly, she takes control of the wheel, makes the Ferrari skid, hits a drain, and flips the car, landing on a bus. After this, they continue driving through the city at night, but the excitement overwhelms Wesley, and he faints. Wesley wakes up in what appears to be a textile factory. He tries to leave, but every exit is blocked by unfriendly men. The woman from the store shows up, and Wesley tries to convince everyone he's just a regular office worker, of no importance to anyone. "I don't have any money," he pleads. A man appears holding a gun and hands one to Wesley, telling him to shoot a fly buzzing around a trash can. Wesley is shocked by the request, and the man makes it even harder by telling him to hit just the wing of the fly. Wesley feels another gun pointed at the back of his head. The large man behind him warns that if Wesley doesn't shoot, he'll be shot instead. A panic attack makes Wesley's reaction so fast that he can see the fly's wings moving. After shooting 6 bullets, Wesley rushes to take his medication, but the leader stops him, showing him the flies, now wingless. He throws away Wesley's meds, explaining that Wesley's heart was beating at 400 beats per minute, releasing a flood of hormones that sped up his reactions. This isn't a panic attack, it's a power he inherited from his father. Wesley thinks he's going crazy and threatens the man with a gun, demanding he stay away. The man introduces himself as Sloan, and the woman is Fox. Sloan tells Wesley he's wasting his life working in an office when he could be using his abilities. He offers Wesley a chance to avenge his father's death and kill Cross. "The gun you're holding," he says, "belonged to your father. He could conduct a symphony with it." They also tell him they transferred all his father's money into Wesley's account. After telling him this, they let Wesley go. The next morning, Wesley wakes up thinking everything that happened was just a dream, but when a gun falls out of his pocket in the bathroom, he's jolted back to reality. He hides the gun in the toilet tank. Wesley goes to the nearest ATM and sees that his account now has over $3.5 million. At work, he reads articles about his father's murder on a skyscraper roof. Suddenly, his boss shows up, greeting him rudely. "Staged your popsicle. I still don't have my billing report," she yells, accusing him of wasting time online instead of working. She threatens to ruin his career, and Wesley calmly tells her how everyone laughs at her behind her back. He deals a heavy blow to her ego, then grabs his keyboard and leaves. Barry, impressed, calls him a man with guts and tries to high-five him, but Wesley hits Barry in the face with the keyboard for cheating with his girlfriend. Feeling exhilarated, Wesley leaves the building and sees newspapers with stories about his adventure in the store. Fox picks him up, and he eagerly gets into her car. She takes him to the weaving factory. At first, Wesley thinks the mill is just a cover, but he soon learns they are expert weavers running a real business. They call themselves the Fraternity of Weavers. As Wesley approaches the factory's canteen, he realizes they are genuine weavers. He declares he doesn't want to return to his old life, so Sloan assigns Fox to train him. The training begins. They tie Wesley to a chair and start beating him, asking why he's there. He doesn't know what they want and says it's certainly not to be beaten up. They take him to a butcher who starts training him in knife fighting. They don't hold back, and Wesley gets seriously hurt. He wakes up in a bath filled with paraffin. A man called Exterminator helps him recover, saying these are special regeneration baths to ease his pain. He gives Wesley vodka, revealing he's Russian. "Vodka, huh? Are you Russian?" Wesley asks. "Yeah," the man replies. Wesley's firearms training is unconventional too. He must learn to shoot curved bullets, not just straight ones. This grueling routine repeats day after day. He's beaten, then healed. Eventually, they bring in another dead fraternity member, killed by Cross, who is targeting them one by one. Sloan insists only Wesley can stop Cross. Later, Fox challenges Wesley to catch a shuttle moving at high speed inside the loom. He suggests she point a gun at his head to get a reaction, but Fox tells him he needs to control his abilities. Wesley fails, injuring his hand. During recovery, the Russian shows Wesley a trick involving a rat with a tiny explosive. He uses peanut butter to lure the rat to a safe spot, where it explodes. The man says Wesley's father loved this trick. Curious, Wesley asks if he's okay and what they've done to him, noticing he acts strangely. Meanwhile, Fox steps out of a nearby bath and tells Wesley to follow her. This time, she takes over his training, beating him up while asking why he's there and wasting her time. Wesley finally gives the right answer. He wants to know who he truly is. Wesley is taken to Sloan, who shares stories about his father, calling him the best of them and showing Wesley his father's belongings. Wesley puts on his father's jacket, determined to live up to him. With this newfound purpose, his training becomes meaningful. His goal is to avenge his father's death. Wesley endures all hardships, learns about his enemies, and trains relentlessly, like a Shaolin monk. He quickly defeats the knife master. The trainer who used to beat him ends up with broken bones after a fight. Finally, it's Wesley's turn to beat him. The only challenge left is shooting a curved bullet. Fox decides to help by standing in front of a target to motivate him. Feeling a great sense of responsibility, Wesley successfully curves the bullet around her and hits the bullseye. Now, Wesley is ready for his first mission. Sloan takes him to the loom, where it's revealed that the loom of fate produces fabric containing the names of their targets. The fraternity's ancestors had cracked a secret code that converted thread irregularities into a binary sequence, which they then used to identify their targets. Wesley receives his first target's name, with Fox accompanying him on the mission. They ride on top of a train as they close in on the target, but Wesley finds himself unable to shoot. He closes his eyes, recalling a conversation with Fox. He had asked her how they could justify killing someone based on fabric patterns. Fox responded by telling him about a little girl whose father was a principled and incorruptible judge. He once handled a significant criminal case. The accused wanted a different judge and sent a killer named Max Patrick to the judge's home. This assassin would burn his victims alive while forcing their families to watch, then carve his initials into the bodies so they'd never forget the horror. When Fox joined the fraternity, she learned that Max Patrick's name had appeared on the loom just days before the judge's murder, but a member failed to act. This is why the fraternity's motto is, "Kill one, save 1,000. After sharing this story, Fox leaves, and Wesley notices Max Patrick's initials on her neck. Wesley opens his eyes, deciding to kill the businessman by shooting a curved bullet. He takes on one mission after another, each time hoping that Cross's name will appear. During another mission, he can't kill a businessman in an armored limousine alone. Fox assists by using her sports car as a springboard, and Wesley manages to shoot the target through the sunroof by performing a somersault over the limousine. After this mission, they go to Wesley's house to retrieve the gun hidden in the toilet. It seems Wesley's friend Barry now lives in the apartment with Wesley's girlfriend. Wesley kicks Barry out by delivering a May Gary kick to the door and heads straight to the toilet while his girlfriend yells at him. Tired of her screaming, Fox helps boost Wesley's image by giving him a passionate kiss. They leave together, and Barry calls after Wesley, acknowledging his newfound confidence. On the street, as Fox goes to steal a car, Wesley spots Cross. He opens fire, but Cross deflects Wesley's bullet with one of his own. A chase ensues, with other fraternity members joining in at an abandoned construction site. In the chaos, Wesley accidentally shoots Exterminator. Shocked by his mistake, Wesley hesitates, allowing Cross to fire a curved bullet around a corner, hitting Wesley in the shoulder. Wesley wakes up in a recovery room, watching as they try to save Exterminator, but he dies. Fortunately, the bullet removed from Wesley's shoulder can be traced. It was made by Pekwarski, who works at a monastery in eastern Arabia. Realizing this is a setup, the fraternity is reluctant to let Wesley go alone, but he convinces them he's prepared. Finally, Sloan gives him the canvas with Cross's name. As Wesley departs, Sloan hands Fox another canvas, this time with Wesley's name, ordering her to kill him once he's finished with Cross. Wesley arrives at the monastery and confronts Pekwarski. Pretending to flee, Pekwarski leads Wesley into a trap. Luckily, Fox, who has been following, arrives to help. Wesley shows him the bullet, asking where they can find the person who made it. Pekwarski agrees to set up a meeting. He leads them to a train station, waiting for Cross, while Fox and Wesley prepare an ambush. Suddenly, Pekwarski begins to run. Wesley spots Cross in a car and jumps onto the train while Fox chases Pekwarski. As the train departs, Fox realizes Wesley is now alone with Cross. She commandeers an old Soviet car from a couple. Pekwarski contacts Cross, informing him that Wesley is on the train alone. Cross grabs Wesley, trying to tell him something, but Fox catches up in the beat-up car, surprisingly modified for speed, and opens fire on Cross. A shootout breaks out on the train, with Cross skillfully blocking bullets. Fox's car crashes into the train, causing it to derail and dangle precariously over a bridge. Wesley nearly falls into the abyss, but Cross catches him, sacrificing his life. Wesley shoots Cross, causing the train car to fall and get stuck in the gorge. Before he dies, Cross reveals he is Wesley's father and that the fraternity has been lying to him. Wesley asks Fox if it's true, and she confirms it. Wesley was the only person Cross refused to kill. The others simply couldn't reach him. Wesley realizes his name was also on the loom and escapes Fox by shooting out the glass, falling into the river alongside his father's body. Wesley wakes up in a recovery bath in a house across from his old home. He overhears his girlfriend on the phone, lamenting about losing such a great guy. Pekwarski explains that Wesley's father was always nearby, watching over him, trying to prevent him from getting involved with the fraternity. Pekwarski hands Wesley a piece of fabric with Sloan's name, exposing Sloan's betrayal. Cross had discovered that Sloan manipulated the codes for personal gain, prompting him to leave the fraternity and vowing to dismantle it. Wesley discovers a hidden passage in a closet leading to a room filled with rat explosives and blueprints of the fraternity's headquarters. Wesley heads to the store, buying a large quantity of peanut butter to lure rats into a garbage truck. He infiltrates the factory, releasing the explosive-laden rats. Following the explosion, Wesley storms the building, taking out everyone he encounters, wielding his weapons with precision. At the most critical moment, Wesley faces off against the Butcher, a formidable foe, but manages to stab him with a honing steel. Finally, Wesley reaches Sloan. He finds himself surrounded by the remaining fighters, including Fox. Wesley reveals that Sloan was afraid and concealed the Loom's prophecy, deciding to kill the only witness, Cross. The fraternity members demand an explanation from Sloan. Sloan presents a folder containing names deciphered from the canvas, revealing that all fraternity members are listed. He tells them they can continue following the Loom's orders, which would mean putting a bullet in their own heads, or they can disregard it, kill Wesley, and use their skills to dominate the world. Sloan exits, leaving them to decide. All but Fox choose to side with Sloan and kill Wesley. Remaining true to her beliefs, Fox fires a bullet that curves, killing everyone, including herself. Wesley tries to chase Sloan, but he disappears. Defeated and drained, Wesley goes to an ATM and discovers his account is empty. A few days later, in Wesley's office, life seems to have returned to normal. Sloan sneaks up on Wesley with a glitcher M712. Wesley turns around, revealing it was just a decoy. Sloan looks down to see the Professor X logo at his feet. A vintage bullet pierces Sloan's head. Reverse motion reveals the bullet's trajectory, passing through his boss's donut and Barry's energy drink. The shot was fired from Wesley's father's house.